Good evening. My name is Rochelle Crump. I'm president of the National Women Veterans United. And we're here tonight to talk about veterans issues. And particularly, I want to talk about the National Women Veterans United, where we actually have the only Women Veterans Center in the state of Illinois. And later on, I will give you our address, and I'd like to give a shout out to all of the veterans and all of those who are still wearing the uniform this evening. A proud Army veteran myself, I want to belated say Happy Veterans Day to all. We know that there were some spectacular giveaways over that period of time, as well as when we were honoring those who so deserve to be honored on that special day. Including, it was actually a 2-day holiday because on November the 10th, there was a Marine Corps birthday. And of course, some of the facilities and agencies were off on that day, so it made a 2-day holiday. And there were lots of activities going on and some solemn events, as well as you could just see the pride of all of those who had geared up with their veteran hats and jackets and organizations going out to stand proudly as veterans. We give kudos to those at the City of Chicago who orchestrated the Soldiers Field Veterans Day event. It was spectacular. And we would be remiss if we did not also mention there was a Veterans Day parade that is normally held on Veterans Day. It was actually pushed back to November the 10th. And that was orchestrated by one of the oldest African American Legion posts, 87, Giles Post, and it goes down King Drive. So we'd like to also give a shout out to all of those restaurants, all of the time and energy and the money that was spent on making sure that veterans were thanked on that very special day. I actually enjoyed it. And tonight we also want to give a shout out to our veterans again. And if you have a veteran that you'd like to just make mention of, then we'd like for you to give us a call in today as well. And including our service members, because we can't thank them enough for still standing in defense of this nation. Our phone number is going to be 312-738-1060. And I have a lot of information to give you today, so I'll start our first of all because I want to make sure that every veteran remembers that they need their DD-214. If you do not know, as we are speaking right now, where your DD-214 is, that's your military discharge papers. If, in fact, you do not have that document or do not know where to get that document, then stop right now. And when I give you the phone number for our organization, because we want to make sure that you know the procedures for being able to access that document. It is important because as time comes, as you get older, if you're still in job market, anytime you need to go to the hospital for the Veterans Affairs and you've never registered, you need that discharge paper because it actually stalls times. And it's particularly a problem if something were to happen to you if you don't have burial insurance. You need to be buried in a national cemetery, or you need to be hospitalized and you want to use the VA system. You must have that DD-214 to speed the process up. Of course, they will treat you, however, because there's a humanitarian law, they will treat you, but you can offset that belated time by actually knowing where your copy of your DD-214 is, and also that your family knows. It's so important. I can only keep saying it over and over again because before you're okay right now, who knows what tomorrow brings, because tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So I want to make sure that you know that, and I want to go right now and just give you our address so that you'll have it. Hold on, we're going to the Illinois Community Women Veterans Center. We're located at 7907-09 South Racine. We're in Chicago. Our phone number is 872-731-2150. Our email address is nwvu.org@gmail.com. And we really would like for you to go and look at our website. We put a lot of things on the website, and we put them on there so that whoever is looking for something may be able to find it on our website. And of course, if you don't see it somewhere and you're still having trouble, you can always give us a call, and I'm sure that we'll be able to help you in some way by either giving you the response or putting you in the right direction. So there's going to be a lot of information. There's the Stand-Up Veterans Day musical and luncheon coming up on Saturday, November the 18th. It will be held at the Healing Temple Church. The address to there is 4941 West Chicago Avenue, and that's in Chicago. And the event is free. It will begin at 12 o'clock noon to 3 o'clock p.m. So I'll leave that there for a minute again so you can understand. It's called a Stand-Up Veterans Day Musical and Luncheon. It will be free. It's this coming Saturday, November the 18th. It begins at 12 noon until 3 o'clock p.m. It's located at 4941 West Chicago Avenue, and they ask that you come out and celebrate the veterans who fight to keep our country safe. They will have great musical artists performing. They have free food. They're doing medals of awards, raffle gifts for all of the veterans. So they'll be honoring veterans and their families, and what a wonderful way to do that. And then also, we have the Veterans Day Dinner. Now, that is going to be free to veterans also, and it is going to be on Sunday, November the 19th at 1 o'clock p.m. until 5 p.m. And they're feeding you body and soul. It's free to all veterans, and they want you to RSVP. There was a date of November the 13th, but I'm sure that they will be maybe taking other RSVPs since they changed the date. It's the revised date, so they may still be taking it. And also, they have a Grammy-nominated singer. Kim Stratton is going to be one of their guests there, and who will obviously be serenading the crowd who comes out. And that's going to be held at the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 311, and it is located at 22341 South Governor Highway. That's in Richton Park. So if in fact you don't, or you're not able to write down those things that I'm giving you, you can always call back when I give you that number, and you'll be able to actually see exactly what it is that information that I gave you. I know this one is a little hard to read. So this one is a resource fair. It's called Kevlars to Careers. It's a welcome home event. It's presented by the Cook County Recorder of Deeds Office, Karen A. Yarbrough, and it is on Saturday, December the 2nd. And it will be held at Malcolm X College from 9 a.m. until 3 o'clock p.m. And they'll be doing employment and vocational training. They'll have women veterans needs there. They have housing and emergency services, health and wellness screening, and then, they'll have other things there that will benefit those of you who are actually looking for different things. So this is where we are today. Okay, and then also the winter stand down. Now, normally they have 2 stand downs a year. One they have like in the summertime in June, and then this one is on Friday, November the 17th. It starts at 8 o'clock. It will be held at the Northwest Armory. That one is at 1551 North Kedzie in Chicago. They'll be honoring those who served. And of course, when they have a stand down, they have a lot of different things for you. And let's just focus more on the resources that they have for housing, trying to help whatever your situation is so that they can, point you in the right direction, or either they may have a service person there that will be, able to give you that information, the direct information that you need for acquiring housing. They'll have medical services there. They will have some giveaways, but we don't just want to focus on giveaways. We want to focus on what's the root of the problems. How can we better help and serve our veterans? And that's what we do, we meaning the National Women Veterans United. That's what we do when we are actually trying to help women veterans. We last hosted the Stand Down for Women Veterans in October, and we coordinated that with the Chicago State University Veterans Resource Center, which is new. Veterans Resource Center, when you get an opportunity, perhaps you need some services, you can always go there, and they have some service officers and those others who basically can help you navigate through the system. They also have a fantastic regime of the JROTC. They have some wonderful youth there that are actually soaring. I'm so proud of those youth. And the NAVVETS, Veterans, the National Association of Black Veterans, has an office there. They're hoping to bring in some other national organizations like the American Legion and those other organizations too. Now, I'd like to hear from our callers. If you want to give us some information or you want to get some information today, give us a call at 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. And so we also have the VA Community Resource and Referral Center. A lot of people don't know about this center. It's been there for a little while. It's located at 1141 South California. And their business hours are from 7:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. It is actually in conjunction with the Jesse Brown VA Medical Center. And at that referral center, they basically have short-term case management services. They have contract of transitional housing. They have, I know, a clothing closet and hygiene kits. They have information and linkages with the educational and legal resources, supportive services, child support center services there, public benefits and the SNAP services, and then of course they have the VA benefits. So that's a resource that all should know about in the community. And they do some wonderful things there. I did get a tour of it when it first opened some time ago, probably a couple years ago, I believe. But it is great to have a place where you can go and actually talk to someone where it's not as busy and it's not like you're, standing in a place where sometimes some places are too large because there's too many people in there. So it's a smaller setting and you can basically have an individual, a lot of individual time with those counselors over there. So, there's a lot of things going on here. Also, not sure if anyone knows about the new legislation that they're still working on where it's called Forever GI Bill. And what that Forever GI Bill would do is that 15-year time limitation, they're going to have a 15-year time limitation for using the post-911 GI Bill. And they're also going to have restoration of benefits due to school closures and independent study programs. They have some things in there for reservists. And you should call or watch your legislators' websites so that you basically can find out more. And that's one thing, too, that every congressperson or state legislator, they normally have a veterans liaison that basically handles all of their veterans' concerns and issues. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. And sometimes when you're having problems with your VA benefits, like with the VA benefits office, sometimes what you can do is contact your legislator or your congressperson, and they can do an inquiry on your behalf. Now, I don't want to bombard them, but it's when you really have tried everything that you could to resolve the issue with the VA. We know that they have a backlog, and we know that they are consistently trying to work on it, but sometimes you're in a position where you need those services right now. So you need a service answer right now, particularly those who are having some financial problems and could be in, homeless jeopardy or losing independence, that's the time when you need to contact your legislators and ask them to work on your behalf to get your response, either an approval or denial, and then that way you can move on and find other resources. And then, you should contact some of these other agencies, the local ones in the community, because those national organizations normally have 1 to 2 personnel in their offices. A lot of times they're only part-time because they don't have funding, local funding basically to pay them. And some of them have 200 cases that they're working on. That's a lot for one person. It's almost like a doctor trying to medicate 400 patients. You find yourself at some point being ineffective. So I don't want to say that our veteran reps are ineffective, but what I do know is that, having been a past service officer myself, I know how much energy and time you have to put in writing up those claims and putting that documentation together so it's just right to tell the story and to provide the crucial documentation that's going to help you to get your VA benefits. So, sometimes you have to look in other avenues to help them as well, because that does help them when you get an answer, because they can take you off their caseload when you do get an answer in another area. So, we want to encourage you to use those resources. And then also, you have legislators who basically do a lot of work on behalf of their veteran constituents. So, don't hesitate not to utilize those services. That's why we vote them in, to work on behalf of our issues and our concerns. And so what we have to do is make sure that they're accountable for helping us. That's what it's about. And we do. We have some great legislators, I can't say anything bad about any of them, because if I knew something bad about them, I'd probably say it. But, this is not the venue for that. But we do want to say thank you to them also, as well as thanking those who are taking care of our veterans in the hospitals and the nursing homes. And speaking of the nursing homes, I think we should probably start that campaign. I know that Joe Basil was on the front page this week, and kudos to the Sun-Times for picking up this issue about the state veterans home. That has been an issue since I was the assistant director of the state of Illinois back in 2007. When I left from there, we were still waiting on a resolve for having Chicago as one of those states that had a veterans state nursing facility. It is bricks and mortar, stand still right now with no resolve. It's time to put some action to what needs to fire up our legislators to know that we need that veterans home here in Chicago, because going all the way to Anna, to Quincy, there's another one not far from here. Well, it is far from here because it's over 50 miles. I can't think of the name right now, but we need one here. And a lot of times, because of the fact that we are, here in Chicago, and we use the local resources, where there's a better cost and better care sometimes at those facilities where they have just ideally for veterans. So we're going to need people to get on board with that, and soon you'll hear more about that as we're meeting and coming up with strategic plans in order to put some fire under that issue. And that fire needs to be under our legislators. It needs to be under the state government, the city government, because they find ways to do everything else in the city of Chicago. We need them to have that veterans home here in Illinois. So we're going to stand up for that. Like we did before, but we're going to have to really light that fire this time, because it's been way, way too long, and so enough is enough is what we normally say. So if you have something you want to say about it, we're getting short on time, but if you want to give us a call at 312-738-1060, give us a call and let's hear your opinion on that, because the more that hear about this, we want you to get that information out as soon as you can. And so also we just want to remind you of those things that we told you about. And also one other thing is that the Croc Center out south is having the Bushel of Blessings for a Thanksgiving basket giveaway. Now that is on Saturday also. The time for that is going to be 10 a.m. until 3 o'clock p.m. You might want to contact them. You can actually, with this flyer, you can click on it to register. But because you don't have it, you will need to contact them directly. That's the Kroc Center located at 1250 West 119th Street in Chicago to get your bushel of blessings. Just recently, they had a veterans program there also. I was happy to be able to have an opportunity to speak there. It was a wonderful event. I want to give Miss Darlene Humphreys a shout out for the hard work that she did putting into the program, and then just recognizing veterans, because you know what? Word of mouth and our advocacy for ourselves is what we have to do. So we have to advocate a lot of times just for ourselves, and we want to make sure that we do that. That's how we get left out of history, ladies. If you're watching, we get left out of history because we don't advocate for ourselves. And that's what the National Women Veterans does. We're advocating not just for ourselves, but we're advocating for you and for our male comrades as well. That Women Veterans Center has been there since 2015. Some people say that they still don't know about it. We also started a Rockford chapter so that women veterans can get together and we can resolve those issues that we still think are gaps in service. Those gaps consist of a lot of things, and particularly for those women who have not been able to get their benefit claims resolved, who have military sexual trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury. We want to make sure that those women who are deserving of those benefits are able to get their claims adjusted so that they can have a healthy life. And so that's something that the VA is trying to do, but we know that they need help, because we cannot rely on the VA itself basically to do all the work. We have to make sure that our documentation is available to us. We have to make sure that we're working with a national service organization or a accredited service officer to be able to get that work together. So we are out of time. We hope that you will continue to watch Veterans Issues on Thursdays at 6:30. I want to make sure that you know our address and our phone number, how to reach us. We're the Illinois Community Women Veterans Center at 7907 09 South Racine, Chicago. Our phone number is 872-731-2150. And please, whatever you do, say thank you to those veterans around you. Please consider helping those who cannot help themselves, and let's continue to work together as a unit. We're always soldiers, we're always sailors, we're always Marines, and we're always serving our community and this nation. I'm happy to be here tonight, and we hope that we see you next month. Have a blessed evening.